And yeah, as already said, now we will hand over to our second topic. So I'm shortly very happy to welcome Dan. Dan is our group product manager. Dan grew up in New Hampshire, US. So you might hear by when he's talking in English. And yeah, luckily he joined Personio in December 2019. Dan is our product leader of our product platform team and responsible for core services and experience that drive user value. And yeah, as a little side fact or fun fact about Dan, Dan likes to spend free time traveling with friends and family, and currently has 45 countries on his list and still counting. So super international, and therefore super happy to welcome you today here in our international user group meeting. Over to you, Dan.
Thanks, Hannah. Yeah, very excited to be speaking with everyone today. I'm very proud of my 45 countries I've been able to visit across the world, but also jealous of my wife. She's over 50 countries, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to catch up, but that's the goal. Excited as well to be presenting the product roadmap for Q4 and the last quarter of this year. Also excited, of course, from Marta's presentation about the people workflow automation category that we've just recently launched, and a lot of the great outlook and value add that we're going to be able to provide in the coming months and quarters to you all to make your lives even easier. And so let's jump in. I have a lot of slides, so I'll try to go quickly so we can save time for questions. Before we get into the product roadmap, I want to take a step back and remind you all why we are here, what our core purpose is. And this is really about empowering you to drive excellence in people operations and strategy, and most importantly, to save you all time and effort to be able to focus on what's most important, which are, of course, your employees. And so we're very excited to be doing this by continuing to develop a strong platform that cross-cuts all of the core functionalities and use cases of HR, whether it is attracting talent, managing employees, developing your employees, paying your employees. This is very much what we believe is an all-in-one solution that doesn't stop at the borders of Personio, but actually continues on. And there's a lot of tools, as you saw with people workflow automation, that need to be integrated. And we believe that Personio being that source of truth is the best way to do that, to create this seamless automation for you all. How are we doing this? Well, we're continuing to, and we feel very lucky and privileged to be able to have now over 300 Personios that are all dedicated to product development. This is a 3x increase over the last 2 years, and really is just a commitment from us to make sure that we're constantly investing in Personio for the betterment of you all, to provide that customer value, to make your lives easier, to empower you, and to really, of course, to make sure that the end user, the employees, are front and center and having great experiences within your companies. We can't do it alone. We have are constantly talking to our customers. In particular, we have our customer advisory board that I want to give a quick shout out. They have been absolutely fantastic with helping us not just develop and better understand your all's needs, but also to help shape the vision and direction of Personio. And if you are interested, we have a link down here at the bottom right, personio.com/customer advisory board. Please take a look. Please also, if you're interested, reach out and let us know. Whether or not you're part of the customer advisory board, we absolutely are committed to spending time with our customers and really on a daily basis at this point, with our over 30 product managers and equal number of product designers and UX researchers, and very much want to engage with you to help make sure that we are solving your problems and not just building features and functionalities that don't fit your needs. So we're always willing to talk, and of course, if you're interested in the customer advisory board, please reach out. So before we get into the roadmap, we are gonna take a brief view of our 3-year vision. This is super exciting, and again, really shaped by a lot of different facets, but also, and I think most importantly, the feedback and direction that we get from customers like you. First, driving organizational velocity. This is people workflow automation, as Marta has just described, and it's really about removing delays and making people the center of processes and really the center of what we do. They already are, and so it's really just about codifying it within Personio and outside of Personio as well, with the other tools that you rely on every day. And it's also about making sure that HR, you all can go beyond HR, right? Like have the tools to be able to, and data to be able to have those conversations across your organizations to remove these delays. The next one, built for Europe, we are committed to not just being a local platform and HR provider, but one that supports all markets within Europe. We actually have employees that we manage, users that we manage across pretty much every country in Europe already, and we're committed to making sure that the features, functionalities, and most importantly, value that we're providing you all are considered a European solution and not a localized one. And lastly, we understand that the world is getting increasingly more complex, especially growing and fast growing organizations, and this world of hybrid work is creating additional complexity, and we are committed to making a flexible platform that helps both organize this complexity, but also help reduce this complexity as well. And I think, people workflow automation is one part of it, but we're committed to building in this flexibility across our platform to make everything as easy as possible, and give you all the tools you need to be able to react quickly and also communicate effectively with your organizations. So now, what does Q4 look like? Well, we're already in it, and we really only have a couple months left before the holiday season, which is really fantastic, but we have a lot of work to do, and really excited to show some of the highlights. Here's an overview of what we're going to be reviewing, and it's really broken down by each of the key themes, as well as we're going to take a deep dive into a few of the different functionalities we're excited about. We also will take a sneak peek into next year as well. So as Marta has already shared, we have introduced to the world people workflow automation. And in order to not just have this be a concept or a category, but to be really tangible, we invested in creating a number of different time saving and value increasing functionalities. Of course, the workflow hub, having that centralized view of understanding where things are working well, and most importantly, where there might be delays that should be alerted to you all, to be able to address quickly and remove as much friction in your organizations as possible. This also applies to some of our really exciting integrations that we've recently launched. One, a focus on user provisioning, which is really just making sure that the right people have the right access and automatically setting up that access across tools. These integrations that we've started with are Okta and Azure Active Directory, and we're going to continue building out different and additional integrations for user provisioning. We're also going to continue investing in making this tooling more sophisticated to match your complex organizations. And then from a communication and time savings perspective, driving this organizational velocity, We have absence requests now available through both Slack and MS Teams. So employees don't need to log in to Personio to request absences anymore. This is really exciting because it really is enabling your all employees to be able to work where they feel most comfortable and where they're spending their time already and not having to take that additional time-consuming step. And we're going to continue building out additional functionality into communication tools like MS Teams and Slack. So more to come on that front. Next up, this one is near and dear to my heart. Something I've been working closely with the team on is Inbox. You can see a GIF here showing how it works. But really the idea is to take the My Tasks widget on the dashboard and make it available on every single page. What we're finding is 62% of the time people interact with the My Tasks widget, they're actually navigating from a different page within Personio to find out what they need to do next. So what we'll be doing, and this is actually, looks like we'll be going into a beta launch tomorrow, which we're super pumped about to get this feedback. But what we'll be doing is making these tasks, which are very simply things that employees need to take action on, or notifications, which are things that employees need to know about, taking them and making them available on every single page of Personio, and not requiring that extra click. You can also see here that we're adding in additional functionality to make it easier to find tasks and also even to filter by task type to surface the most important tasks. This is only the beginning, and really excited to get the feedback from customers to continue to iterate and improve, not just in Q4, but also into next year as well. We also have the performance cycle builder. This is really exciting, an area that we've heard a lot from our customers, that so much of employee data already lives in Personio. And so we really want to be able to make sure that performance cycles can also live in Personio, given that it touches so much of the data that already lives there. And so, yeah, we're excited to be launching the new cycle builder, making it very easy to not just run cycles, but set up performance cycles, how your companies work, and of course, to be able to run them with confidence. Another great and exciting product release coming up is in improvements and advancements into how accruals happen. This is particularly important as we continue to develop as a European solution. Every country has some difference in how absence tracking happens, as well as accruals of vacation. And so we're making it even more flexible, especially when it comes to carryover. And this is really important for specific countries like the Nordics, that we're excited to be able to support and make sure that we are working and supporting how our customers expect to work, but also how they are being held accountable to work by the local countries. Next, another time-saving functionality that also really supports us being the European solution for HR technology. This one is auto posting for free international job boards. So it's two things. One, about making sure we have those international job boards being represented, but then to be able to not have to manually post open roles across each of these job boards, but be able to do that automatically on behalf of recruiters of our customers. And so another, what we believe doesn't just fit the European solution, but another great time-saving functionality that also aligns to people workflow automation and improving organizational velocity. And another one, this one I think I'm very excited about, as also having a team that we're also growing quickly here, but scheduling interviews, especially when there's conferencing involved, can be quite tedious at times. And so we're really excited about being able to book video conferencing directly within Personio. Again, another time-saving solution for recruiters, and especially talent acquisition teams and coordinators for talent acquisition teams. And I think this one very much a big ask from our users who are recruiters, and one that's also just going to make the whole recruiting process more seamless, not just for recruiters, but also for hiring managers as well. And of course, reporting. Personio is the source of truth. We hear it often from our customers, but sometimes the data we've heard is in Personio, but hard to get out in usable ways, and in ways where others across your organization can easily access. But also with this access, we need to make sure that there's the appropriate permissions as well. And so we're excited, we're going to be enabling the ability to share custom reports, not just by easily adding access to reports for users within Personio, but being able to very specifically set the permissions of either being able to edit or simply be able to view the report. And so hopefully this makes it much easier for you all to communicate with your stakeholders, and something that we also believe will tie in nicely as well to task management, because we of course can then start using Personio as that communication tool, using these notifications to say that reports are ready for your stakeholders to view. We also have plenty more as well. One of the things that we've been very focused on over the last 6 months or so has been the speed or the loading times of Personio. We have increasingly larger customers coming onto the platform, specifically because they're growing really quickly as well. And so this is something where we're committed to making sure that Personio is a very fast user experience that doesn't feel clunky or weighted down. And we've increased actually the user-facing loading time. So the amount of time that all of you are waiting for different experiences in Personio to load. We have decreased the loading times, or increased performance by 20%. And this is only the beginning. We're committed to continuing to invest in our core infrastructure to make sure that Personio is extremely fast and really a high quality experience that make sure that you are enjoying using it. The next is access rights. So data access controls are, of course, a fundamental part of Personio, and being able to set that really granular access of who should see what data is critical, especially with the type of data that can and does live in Personio. And so what we are going to be doing, and we're really excited, is improving the usability. We understand that this part of the platform is a bit too complex at times, and it takes a lot of time really just to learn. And so we want to make it as easy as possible to adjust and I think most importantly, understand who has access to what data, and then of course adjust it as needed. This is only the beginning. We actually are setting up a brand new backend infrastructure to manage access rights, which is also going to allow us moving forward to add in more flexibility into data access controls. And then next as well, or lastly, I should say, is better navigation. One of the things that we've found is that some of our navigation can be a bit clunky at times. And so what we're going to be doing, especially as you see, we're introducing a lot of new functionality, and we believe that our current navigation doesn't scale with the increased functionality. And so what we're committed to doing and working on now is introducing a navigation that's even easier to understand, that doesn't require users to learn it, whether they're new customers or employees who might only log into Personio on a weekly or monthly basis when they need to update data in their account or request a sickness or vacation or something. So for us, it's really about making sure that it's as easy as possible for you to find the most important area of Personio that you need in a given moment and to be able to get work done faster. And now the sneak peek into next year. This is just a sneak peek, and I think you also saw it from the people workflow automation outlook as well. But we're actively working on our 2022 roadmap now. And so in the coming couple months, we are going to be able to have a much deeper look into what you can expect in 2022, but enjoy this sneak peek. The first one goes back to our performance cycle builder and really adding into it 360 feedback. Of course, we need to have upward feedback and downward feedback for managers and their employees, but also it's really important to bring in the ecosystem that those individuals are working in and be able to make it easy for peers to be able to provide feedback to each other. This is something that we believe strongly in Personio as our seek to improve operating principle. And we're really excited to be able to codify this into the platform and give that additional context to make performance discussions and reviews even more rich and valuable for your employees. And next, we're going to continue to expand our payroll integrations. We of course have Dativ, which works quite well in Germany, but we know we have many customers across Europe, and so our payroll teams are going to be building out additional integrations such as Numbers and Pento and Payfit to be able to enable seamless payroll processes across as much of Europe as possible in 2022, and we'll continue that journey beyond. And then lastly, our smart interview booking. One of the things that we've found is not just making sure that we have the video conferencing set up for interviews, but scheduling of interviews is actually, of course, a very time-consuming task for talent acquisition coordinators. And so we want to make it as easy as possible, adopting some of the best practices that we have seen in the marketplace around scheduling, and really make it as easy as possible for candidates to be able to choose the times that work for them, that also work, of course, for the interviewers, and take another step, very weighty and time-consuming and sometimes tedious process out of the overall recruiting experience. And thank you all for the time this evening. Really was a pleasure to be able to share not just our purpose and what we're about and the roadmap, but also a sneak peek into next year. And with that, I'm going to, of course, hand it over to all of you so I can answer your questions.
Hey there. Thank you so much for the presentation, Dan. It's really exciting to see what the next few months have in store. We actually have collected quite a few questions in the chat. So here is the first one. Yeah. So for scheduling recruiting interviews, is there also an integration with Microsoft Teams besides Zoom? And also, would there be an integration with Google Hangouts? Is that planned?
That is, we have heard that feedback, and I can't commit to any dates, but absolutely, we want to make the integrations through these communication channels, especially with Microsoft Teams, where there can be, of course, video conferencing involved, as easy as possible. We don't have that plan for Q4, but happy to add another vote for this functionality to the integrations team to make sure that we're incorporating it. So yeah, a great feedback, and I think that that's something that wouldn't be surprised if you see it on the 2022 roadmap as well when we have it.
Cool, thanks, Dan. Next question is from our friend in the community, Willem Kistemarker, who is really curious to know if there is a rough timeline for the custom workflow launch, because he thinks it will be a real game changer and is looking forward to it, but is aware that it might take some time to develop.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, I think, the most important question that we can answer for our customers right now. We've been going through, in a little bit of context, I've been personally working with Marta and our team here on a lot of discovery with customers to understand the needs, which really informed this custom workflow builder. That will allow you to model your processes in a way that is flexible to how your companies work. And so that discovery is now pretty much wrapping up. What we are doing right now is to identify what that MVP is going to be. We have some ideas. We're actually going to be working with our customer advisory board next week to help identify the MVP solution. And this is going to be a major investment starting in this year, and then will come about next year, where we can't give any timelines. We're hoping to get the MVP out as early into next year as possible, so we can continue iterating on it as well. So yeah, it is rather complex, specifically because it's not just about the UI, but it's actually about how we handle the data on the back end and the engine that's going to power it all. And so that's what we are now investigating with the engineers, and we'll have a much better idea of that roadmap with the 2022 roadmap in the coming months.
Cool. Can you also explain in one sentence what an MVP is?
Oh, yes. Great call. Maybe that's a little bit too much tech speak, but MVP is minimum viable product. And what this means is we want to be able to release something that creates value for all of you. But we also don't want to spend so much time building something that it takes additional time for us to be able to deliver it to you. So it's really about right sizing what the minimal feature set of a custom workflow builder will be in order to make sure it's valuable to our customers, but not so much that it delays access to the functionality. So yeah, that's a minimum valuable or viable product. We talk about it in both ways, but really delivering that customer value to you all as quickly as possible.
Cool, thank you very much. And we have one last question in the Q&A during your presentation. If there will be some flexibility with the login methods. For example, currently, if you have Google SSO enabled, users will need to have a Gmail account to log in, and there's no flexibility. And this has actually been an issue for some of their onboarding candidates who use their personal emails to complete onboarding tasks until they start their first day and have a work email. So do you know if it will be possible at some point to have Google SSO enabled, but also be able to log in with their personal email?
Yeah, that's a great call out. So the short answer is yes. We don't know when yet, but we have a team that's focused on both the login experience, the authentication experience, as well as the data access. So typically we refer to it access rights. And so this team right now is wrapping up a project in the coming months to make this more scalable foundation. And then what we're going to be doing on top of it is building out additional flexibility. So I think you can very much expect this additional flexibility when it comes to not just the access of users tied to maybe different ways beyond specifically the organization's email address, but also things like two-factor authentication and making sure we have flexible but secure ways to ensure that only the right users have access to Personio, given the sensitivity of data that we provide.
Yeah. Flexible but secure. I like that. Thank you very much for answering all these questions. Thank you to the public for asking these questions. Keep them coming. And now I send you back to the studio in Munich.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Daniela.